It was Iachimo. The story about the jewels was as untrue as the rest of the things he had said. He had only wished to get into her room to win his wicked wager. He looked about him and noticed the furniture, and then crept to the side of the bed where Imogen was asleep, and took from her arm the gold bracelet which had been the parting gift of her husband. Then he crept back to the trunk, and next morning sailed for Rome. "I've been to Britain, and I've won the wager, for your wife no longer thinks about you. She stayed talking with me all one night in her room, which is hung with tapestry and has carved chimney-piece and silver andirons in the shape of 2 winking cupids. I don't believe she has forgotten me. I don't believe she stayed talking with you in her room. You've heard her room described by the servants." "Ah," said Iachimo, "but she gave me this bracelet. She took it from her arm. Her pretty action did outsell her gift, and yet enriched it too. She gave it to me, and said she prized it once." "Take the ring," cried Leonatus. "You've won, and you might have won my wife as well, for I care nothing for it now. I know my lady has forgotten me." And, mad with anger, he wrote letters to Britain to his old servant Pisanio, ordering him to take Imogen to Milford Haven and to murder her, because she had forgotten him and given away his gift. At the same time he wrote to Imogen herself, telling her to go with Pisanio, his old servant, to Milford Haven, and that he, her husband, would be there to meet her. Now, when Pisanio got his letter, he was too good to carry out its orders, and too wise to let them alone together. So he gave Imogen the letter from her husband, and started with her for Milford Haven. Before he left, the wicked queen gave him a drink which she said would be useful in sickness. She hoped he would give it to Imogen, and that Imogen would die, and the wicked queen's son could be king. For the queen thought the drink was a poison, but really and truly it was only a sleeping draught. When Pisanio and Imogen came near to Milford Haven, he had told her what was really in the letter he had received from her husband. "I must go on to Rome and see him myself," said Imogen. And then Pisanio helped her to dress in boy's clothes and sent her on her way, and went back to the court. Before he went, he gave her the drink he had from the queen. Imogen went on, getting more and more tired, and at last came to a cave. Someone seemed to live there, but no one was in just then, so she went in, and as she was almost dying of hunger, she took some food she saw there, and had just done so when an old man and 2 boys came into the cave. She was very much frightened when she saw them, for she thought that they would be angry with her for taking their food, though she had meant to leave money for it on the table. But to her surprise, they welcomed her kindly. She looked very pretty in her boy's clothes, and her face was good as well as pretty. "You shall be our brother," said both the boys, and so she stayed with them and helped to cook the food and make things comfortable. But one day, when the old man, whose name was Belarius, was hunting with the 2 boys, Imogen fell ill and thought she would try the medicine Pisanio had given her. So she took it, and at once became like a dead creature, so that when Belarius and the boys came back from hunting, they thought she was dead, and with many tears and funeral songs they carried her away and laid her in the wood covered with flowers. They sang sweet songs to her, and laid flowers on her, pale primroses, and azure harebell, and furred moss, and went away sorrowful. No sooner had they gone than Imogen awoke, and not knowing how she came there, nor where she was, went wandering through the wood. Now, while Imogen had been living in the cave, the Romans had decided to attack Britain, and their army had come over, and with them Leonatus, who had grown sorry for his wickedness against Imogen, so he had come back, not to fight with the Romans against Britain, but with the Britons against Rome. So, as Imogen wandered alone, she met with Lucius, the Roman general, and took service with him as his page. When the battle was fought between the Romans and Britons, Belarius and his 2 boys fought for their own country, and Leonatus, disguised as a British peasant, fought beside them. The Romans had taken Cymbeline prisoner, and old Belarius with his sons and Leonatus bravely rescued the king.